Major support for Out to Lunch is provided by the law firm of Jones Walker, established in 1937 with over 375 attorneys in offices throughout the U.S., providing a comprehensive range of services to a local, national, and international client base. JonesWalker.com. And by Short & Associates, legal recruiters in Louisiana and Texas. And by Wyndham Garden Lafayette.
From Cafe Vermilionville in Lafayette, we're out to lunch with creative business consultant Aileen Bennett. It's business, Acadiana style.
Hi, I'm Aileen Bennett. Welcome to Out to Lunch. Here's a question for you. What is art? There are various possible answers, from the personal and pragmatic, I know it when I see it, to the wide-ranging and ideological, anything that holds a mirror up to society. When we talk about art on a show that is about business, I can tell you one thing art is not. It's not something you go into to get rich. It's hard to imagine any other human endeavour that we regard as essential to our well-being and happiness being so openly unrewarded. Could you imagine the National Football League as non-profit? It would be laughable, but it's totally acceptable for arts institutions to be unfunded, receive no special tax credit status, and to make no money. That's why both of my guests today have businesses that are blatantly, openly, legally, and factually non-profit. Sam Oliver is the Executive Director of the Acadiana Centre for the Arts. The ACA is home for the arts with a capital A. They showcase visual and performing arts. They serve over 300,000 people a year and pay over 2,700 artists. Sam, welcome to Out to Lunch.
Thank you so much, Ellie.
Cindy Axtell has a more modest but extraordinarily innovative arts operation. It's called Deuxième Vie Creative, which is French for Second Life Creative. It's this unique combination of a recycling program, an arts program, an artist studio, art school, and art gallery. The concept is simple. If you have something you're about to throw in the trash that could be used to create art, don't throw it out. Take it down to Deuxième Vie Creative. That something could be as obvious as art supplies, or less obvious, like maybe a piece of vacuum cleaner that's broken and somebody could use in a piece of artwork. And if you're an artist or aspiring artist, you can go down to Deuxième Vie Creative and use the recycled supplies to create art. Cindy, I can't wait to hear more about how all this works. Welcome to Out to Lunch.
Thank you so much for having me.
Sam, as the director of the ACA, you're the person responsible for making sure the operation brings in enough money to keep the doors open. As far as the visual arts side of the business, you don't even need doors. There's no admission. It's free.
Absolutely.
You charge folks to go to performing art events and movies, but the bulk of your operating budget comes from donations and sponsorships. Are there any expectations about what you should and shouldn't go on in the ACA from your financial sources? Or are people and corporations happy to just give you the money for other reasons, say tax deductions, and leave you alone to do what you do best?
So it's always a blend, as I think it is for any kind of organization. For Acadiana Center for the Arts, really our budget is about 25% private donations, public donations, and that kind of support. So it's not the majority of how we make our money, but it does fill the gap between what we earn from things like ticket sales or camp admission, and the gap between what that cost can reasonably be to the public to make sure that it's accessible to a broad public, and then what it really costs to do the work, to keep the lights on, to keep the building open, to get the performers on stage, to make sure their microphone's working properly, to pay them a reasonable, livable wage, and so that everyone can have a wonderful time. In terms of, do our donors influence us? They do and they don't. We have some great supporters who believe that the work we do, broadly speaking, is something that they want to support. Some great corporations and individuals in Lafayette. Lafayette's very fortunate to have some great businesses and leaders in this community who really go out of their way to support the arts.
Cindy, to most of us, recycling is a little bit of a mystery. We're in favour of it, but we don't really know what the heck happens to our recycled stuff after we get rid of it. When we take goods to Deuxième Vie Creative to get recycled, we can see them again into repurposed works of art. Although you're not trying to replace commercial recycling, there is a distinct environmental awareness to what you're doing. Your website describes your mission, in part, as helping to develop the thought process of creative solutions and the alternative uses to achieve social change to preserve the natural environment. There's a pretty lofty goal, and something I think that most of us hadn't considered, the link between art and the environment. What do you see is the ideal relationship between art and the environment?
Well, I think that you're taking something that could be ugly and thrown out into the side of the road, and you're turning it into something beautiful. So you're taking something and just creating a whole new thing. You have to think differently. You have to have a whole different thought process to get there. But it's just taking something that people don't want anymore. It's kind of like that lost little puppy walking down the road, and you just look at those big brown eyes and you take him home and cuddle with him.
But we can't get puppies from you. So
thank you. Yes, please don't bring me puppies.
Although if you do, that's fine, right?
Yeah, well, no.
So what kind of things do you want people to bring? Because there's things you don't want. You don't want us just to bring a big plastic trash bag full of stuff we're throwing out.
Right.
What do you want?
We do have recycling that it needs to go into. So we want things that you don't think about, like watches. Maybe the watch doesn't work anymore, but somebody could take it apart and get the gears out of it. Of course, many are digital now, but clocks that have gears, or parts of bicycles, or I love metal. I am totally attracted to metal, so everything that's going to come out of my mouth is going to refer to metal. But it could be tiles, pretty tiles that could be used for mosaics.
So it's those things you look at and go, oh, this is kind of beautiful in its own way.
It is beautiful, and you feel in your gut that somebody would love to do something with it, but you don't know what to do with it.
Or you don't want another project that you'll do one day.
Exactly, right. A lot of people come in and say, oh, my plate's just too full and I've never gotten around to it.
So that's one side of your business. I can give you stuff that I feel like is, someone else could want one day. What about the other side? As an artist, what do I do? Can I come to you? Can I get some of this stuff? What happens at that side?
So you can come in and purchase those items, and that's how we're surviving right now, is off of the sales of the things that people donate to us. We're still too new to get grants and corporate sponsorships and things like that.
How do you know what the resale value is for old watch parts or a bit of a typewriter?
That is the hardest thing. That's the $1 million question. We're still trying to
but
find
not
the
$1 million.
answer for.
Free market rules, Aileen. This is a business show.
That's right. So yes, you can come in and find, it could be paints, it could be, maybe you want to learn oil painting, but you don't want to go out and invest a ton of money.
So you also take art supplies?
We take art supplies of any kind. That would be our ideal situation, but there's also other things that can be incorporated into that medium. So it becomes mixed media art. You're still using paints but you may have beads in it, or this, again, the gear.
So is this kind of like a library for art supplies where I can come and look around and...
And speaking of libraries, we even have a bookshelf of books that you can sit down and read while you're there, instead of having to purchase the book, and you can get ideas of projects, or, I would love to learn how to do this, and just come hang out with us. We're totally cool with that.
And Sam, I'm coming back to you in a minute, but do you also have like a space? Can people come and work there? I think you do so many things, so people get confused and go, I don't understand.
True.
So you do all of these little things, and I can come and I could buy some oil paints from you, read a book about them, and try them out all in your space.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. We've outgrown our space, so we don't have a lot of that workspace left. We're trying to find a space that would allow us to offer that more.
What a beautiful problem.
But the cool thing that we just started doing is birthday parties for kids. And it's all out of repurposed materials, and they come in and make crafts, and it's themed parties. They come in and tell us what kind of things they like.
And children see recycling as, well, yeah, obviously I can use that for anything, whereas adults have a different view of it.
Absolutely. And so that's kind of the idea, too, is to be able to get to the children, and it takes the message to the parents, because the parents are too busy.
So Sam, let's talk about your organization. You don't get to decide everything by yourself. There's like a board of directors.
Yes, we have a board, just like any other nonprofit. They're very supportive, but they guide our overall direction as an organization. Who do we serve? how do we really want to prioritize what we do? Because we don't just work in the building itself in performing arts and visual arts, but we're also a contractor with the public school system. We bring teaching artists into 77 public schools in Lafayette and St. Landry parishes, and so that's a major program that costs us money to go out and do, and we have to balance that need, big need in the community, for providing in-school education versus programs. Could we put on some more shows, with the same funds? Yeah, maybe so, but we have to really sit there as a board.
Because you're part of the community. You're not this separate art gallery where we're not allowed to talk to each other and we must only appreciate art on the highest level. You're part of a community. You have exhibitions of children's work that you've worked with in the schools.
Yeah, we see ourselves as a cradle to grave arts center. We're here for the community. We're here for the long run. We've been around as the Acadiana Arts Council originally since 1975. So there are people who've come up in public education or just as artists or individuals who attended a performance, like one of our Louisiana Crossroads performances. That series predates our building by 10 years, so we're about to celebrate the 20-year anniversary of that. There are people who have been impacted without knowing it by the work we've done as an organization, and we want to keep impacting them and keep bringing them greater quality of life until, the end of their life.
So do you have to walk that line between it's an art centre for everyone and art can sometimes be shocking and cause you to kind of question things?
Absolutely, because when it comes down to it, art isn't just about creativity, although we believe that that's incredibly important and that, young people should be inspired and engaged and creative, and as well as old people and everybody in between should be a part of people's lives. And art is a great way to make sure that is happening, especially in education. But art is also about communicating ideas and challenging ideas and literally going through some other person's perspective to see an issue in a way that you can't do in any other way. Just as a poet writes something that only comes from their mind, a painting, a sculpture is something that's produced from only the mind and perspective of one person, and really good art tries to say something.
So although you're both non-profits, you have to make enough money to keep your doors open. So how much of a business mind did you have coming in this, and how much do you just care about the creativity?
Mine's more of the creativity. I had a newspaper once before, and that was very interesting, I know. But mostly I've just worked in the corporate world, but not on the business end of it.
But you still have to be able to afford to keep your doors open. You say you want a bigger space.
Right.
So you have to, I'm sure if you lived in your perfect world, you would give the art supplies away and everyone would come and use them.
Absolutely, I would. But no, this one is, if we have a bigger space, then we can generate more sales, which would give us more income. But right now, it's just getting us by.
And I think as people get more used to it, like anyone can walk through your doors. You don't have to be a member of anything or understand anything.
Right. No, all ages are welcome. All skill levels are welcome. We can provide tools or ideas for the youngest person up to
cradle to grave, as Sam told us.
Yeah.
You're listening to Out to Lunch. I'm Aileen Bennett. I'm talking with Cindy Axtell from WMV Creative and Sam Oliver from Acadiana Centre of the Arts. We'll be back after this very brief break. You're listening to Out to Lunch. I'm Aileen Bennett. I'm talking with Cindy Axtell from WMV Creative and Sam Oliver from Acadiana Centre for the Arts. Sam, there's a perception about the ACA is like there's a membership, so you can't just walk in. But in fact, it's the complete opposite.
It's the complete opposite. It's free and open to the public. Our galleries, our museum spaces are open every day except Sunday, normal business hours. And then we're open once a month in the evenings for Art Walk on the second
Art Walk,
Saturday.
everyone knows they can walk in, but
Absolutely.
I'm sure they don't think that they can walk in at any point.
Right.
Not being a member.
We have a great coffee shop, and we have people who just come in during the day to come and work and enjoy
and you
the beautiful
have a meeting
light.
space with Wi-Fi, and anyone can just
Absolutely,
walk in
because
there.
we're half art center, half community center, really. And to be the best organization we can be, to serve the community in the best way, we really need to be both simultaneously.
So having said that anyone can walk in at any time and enjoy most of the things that go on, you also have a membership.
Absolutely.
So now tell me why I should be a member.
So members are our supporters. They donate to us starting at $65 a year. And frankly, we wouldn't be able to open our doors without our membership. They receive, some small benefits that are our way of saying thank you, discounts on tickets, nice little tchotchkes depending on your level. You might get a lovely mug. You might get our great T-shirt. Kayla Zeke is designing our new Season 9 shirt, so that's going to be a fabulous piece, and everybody should want to be a member to get that, but you should also want to be a member because we're here serving the community, and we're trying to provide service to not just you, but to the people behind you, the people who are coming up, the people who are going to be the next artists, the next creatives, the next people who are going to define our region and our city. And so I want you to be a member to help that person. For $65, I can put one student in a Lafayette Parish school system in arts education for a year, which is incredible. So that's our starting membership level, and everyone should become that. And if you don't want to be a member, that's the person I really want to talk to, because I want to know why not. Because I need to know exactly what we're not doing for every person in this community.
So if they don't wish to be a member, they should call you and set up an appointment.
Call me and tell me exactly why not.
Perfect. So we live in... we're laughing. We live
My number is 3... Oh.
We live in a place where we're very proud of our creative industry, of the music industry and of the artists and the people that live here and come from here. And yet they're still very underfunded. Why, and what can we do to change that?
A long pause. Well, we have a policy as an organization of artist compensation. So whether it's somebody we're putting on our big stage, the Hyman Center, or on the Munkus stage, we're going to pay them a market wage. But also if it's someone we're hiring to do a workshop or a summer camp or to perform at Gulf Brew, our beer festival fundraiser coming up July 20th, that those are opportunities where, we could be asking our local artists for, cut us a break, do this for free. But no, the reason we exist is to support these these culture bearers. And so we have a strict policy of we pay our artists, we always pay them, we pay them on time.
To pay in exposure like
right.
A lot of people.
And if you want to do business with us, you have to do the same thing. Lafayette Consolidated Government has actually adopted this same policy from us with their new CREATE initiative as well. So we like to see that that's making some waves.
And Cindy, how are you helping artists get paid for what they do?
Well, so right now, the only avenue we have to help them is if they do repurposed art, they can display it and sell it in our shop. But it has to be 75% or greater repurposed materials used in the making of it to be sold in our shop. So not just any artist can come in, it has to be using repurposed materials in some fashion.
And what are the most interesting or strange repurposed materials that you've seen?
Oh, I've seen so many things. It's just interesting. I don't know the answer to that one.
You
but
have
the
everything on your walls, from beer cans to...
I do. It's so much fun to see what somebody else thinks. So I can look at something and come up with an idea, but somebody else sees it totally different and they come up with a completely different idea. And that, I think, is the most rewarding part of the whole thing.
You're listening to Out to Lunch. I'm Aileen Bennett. I'm talking with Sam Oliver, Executive Director of Acadiana Centre for the Arts, and Cindy Axtell, founder of Doozium V Creative. Sam and Cindy, this is the part of the show that you're going to have fun at. It's called The Interview.
Finally.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the sarcasm. You might regret having done that at this point in the show. Both of you are well versed in hiring people, and hiring the right person for the right job is a tough task. With all the advances in business, hiring still comes down to the same 15 minutes it always has, the interview. One of the recent trends in trying to make job interviews more successful for both parties consists of asking job applicants questions that test their creative ability. I have a list of 20 of these interview questions in front of me, and I'm going to ask you each to pick a number between 1 and 20. And let's ask one of the questions and see what happens. Who wants to go first? Sam just pointed at her. Pick a number between 1 and 20.
Let's go 7.
This is a beautiful question. What's your favorite Disney princess?
Oh, well, I have to go with Cinderella because that's my generation.
And what about Cinderella?
She's just so sweet and beautiful. She looks like me, right?
She does. She really does. I can see that. See, these aren't hard questions. They're just seeing that little bit into your psyche.
You see, I would have gone with Mulan, but that's just, we're different. It's all right.
Wait a minute, would you have gone for Mulan for you or for Cindy?
Well, I mean, definitely for myself, but I can see how you were a Cinderella. You've got the long hair, you got the whole experience.
Guess it could have been Rapunzel.
It could have been. Sam, pick a number between 1 and 20. You might want to avoid 7, which is your Disney princess.
Well, we already know where I stand on that one. I'll take 20. Let's go high.
What was the last gift that you gave somebody?
So, just bought my wife our first anniversary gift, which is the paper year, if you know about the, types of gifts you're supposed to give based on different years. So paper, what does paper do? Oh, paper is books. That's great. Paper is recycled materials. That's great. So we got her a nice recycled bag that's made out of certain types of paper. It's actually right over there. And also a lovely book on houseplants.
Oh, so if we were in an interview situation and Sam answered that question, what would you think about him from that answer?
On that answer? I would have to say that I think he knows his wife pretty well. I think that sounds like an insightful gift.
He does sound sweet and caring, doesn't he?
Yes, it does. Yeah. It's a new leaf, right?
So depending on the job, that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, how does it, like the ACA, you need both of those sides. You need that sweet care inside, and then you're the one that makes sure the books are balanced.
Oh, absolutely. And also, we are a business is the thing. And the art itself is not the only part of our business. We operate a facility. Our facility manager needs to be really on point. It's a giant facility. It's got air conditioners that die every other week and, cost enormous amounts of money to replace and repair. It's a beautiful facility, so then maintaining it, if something slacks off just a little bit, it's instantly and hugely apparent because, if everything's pristine glass, you see one little spot there, then it's like, okay, well, it stands out.
So what piece of the job surprised you that you weren't expecting before you went into the role?
I think what surprised me really, because I grew up in Lafayette, and I've known about the ACA and before that the Arts Council. What really surprised me was the number of people who don't know about it and don't know what it is, don't know what it does, and that was really just a shock to me. I know that awareness is very often the problem for any business. Oh, do enough people come to Chopsticks? Maybe they would if they knew about it. They knew that it was great and they had great vegetarian options, which I'm very grateful for because my wife's a vegetarian as well. And, just awareness is the greatest obstacle. And for a big fancy building in downtown Lafayette, you would think that people would be aware, but they're not. They remember it as a bank. They look at it and they say, oh, that's probably where, the Lemoyne Company is or something like that. So overcoming that basic awareness for the person who works in the office building across the street, the person who works in River Ranch and lives here, and for the person who lives and works in St. Mary Parish in Franklin, but who otherwise, on any given weekend could drive to town and come and see an amazing show and be back, before dinner time.
That's very surprising to me too, because I struggle with it every day, and I'm very surprised to hear that you do.
Great idea and this lovely space. How do you make people aware of what you do?
It is so difficult. Social media really is the biggest thing, and then people find out from a grassroots type, friends telling friends. Odds are if you use repurposed materials, so do some of your friends, and so you spread it that way and say, hey, did you see this great place I just found, and bring them in, and next thing you know, they're coming to you and they're bringing someone else, but it's a very slow process. And
so do you have like a plan for your social media? Is it like, right, okay, this is a marketing plan that goes on for the next 3 months to educate people, or is it just, hey, I like what this looks like, let me share that?
It's pretty random. It's pretty random. Every now and then we'll take a picture and say, hey, we have an awful lot of this stuff, don't you want it?
And do you find most of your stuff is education? It's like, this is what we do.
So it is education. When you boil it all down, it is educating the public on not getting rid of or not throwing things away that somebody else could be using. They're out there looking for it, and we're trying to be a central location for them to find those things. Because how else are you going to find it? How else are you going to come across
And they
that?
could come downtown, give you some art supplies, make a picture, and go and see the ACA at the same time.
Absolutely.
Well, but I think you're not just, educating people about the art itself, but it's about the broader issue. And I think it's a huge problem that we have in our society because I mean the culture that we, our lowercase culture, especially the culture, the life, the world that we build together, it lives in our physical spaces, and especially our roadways and our riverways. I mean, these towns are where they are because first there was a river here, and we traveled on the river. Second, because there were roads here. Third, and the railroad as well. And as as our culture and our language and our ways of life moved along these pathways, we also, as we began to pollute them and litter them, that just cycles right back into how we treat one another, how we treat, the place we live in. And I just think it's such a poor reflection on who we are.
It's a shame.
I love that both of you are making it better, though. Sam and Cindy, according to archaeologists and historians, we've been making art since we lived in caves and barely had language. I'm not sure back then whether cave walls had sponsors or whether other cave people told cave artists they need to give it up and go and get a job. But we do know that throughout human history, art has played a role in our lives. Here in Acadiana, we're very aware of the importance of music, and we're very proud of our visual arts. And so, Sam and Cindy, it's no surprise that we have people with your credentials and your business and artistic imaginations working here. Thank you for everything you're doing for our community, and thank you for both taking the time to join me today on Out to Lunch.
Oh, thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. It's our pleasure.
My guests on Out to Lunch today have been Sam Oliver, Executive Director of the Acadiana Centre for the Arts, and Cindy Axtell, founder of Doozy & V Creative. You can find out more about Sam and Cindy on their ventures in the arts by following the links on our websites, krvs.org and itsacadiana.com. The producer of our show is Grant Morris. Our technical producer is Eric Morrell. Our researchers are Anne Christian and Ali Coates. If you want to know what we all look like, you can find photos from this show on our website, itsacadiana.com, and on our It's Acadiana Facebook page. You can get the show and past shows as a podcast wherever you get your podcasts, including Spotify. And you can find all of our podcasts at itsacadiana.com. You can also keep up with us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and you'll find those links on our website, itsacadiana.com. Out to Lunch is a production of INO Broadcasting for itsacadiana.com and KRVS 88.7 FM. I'm Aileen Bennett. Thanks for joining me today. I look forward to meeting you again next week around the lunch table for more business Acadiana style on Out to Lunch.
Out to Lunch is recorded live at Chopsticks Restaurant in Lafayette, where East meets Southwest. Authentic Chinese cuisine prepared with fresh local ingredients. The Out to Lunch Acadiana theme music, Encore Monsieur Nice Guy, is written by Mitchell Foreman and performed by Mitchell Foreman and Andre Michaud. Out to Lunch Acadiana business consultants are Pete Prados from Innovate Acadiana and Destin Ortego from The Opportunity Machine. Major support for Out to Lunch is provided by the law firm of Jones Walker, established in 1937 with over 375 attorneys in offices throughout the U.S., providing a comprehensive range of services to a local, national, and international client base. JonesWalker.com. And by Short & Associates, legal recruiters in Louisiana and Texas. Support for Out to Lunch Acadiana comes from the Wyndham Garden Lafayette, located off Pinhook near Khalees Saloon. Wyndham Garden Lafayette is a pet and family-friendly hotel with reception space for large and intimate events, free parking, free Wi-Fi, and a free shuttle within 3 miles that includes the airport and downtown restaurants.